Imagine waking up one morning to find out that for years an entire city existed, and you had no idea. Not just a neighborhood, not a small town, a full-blown city, with schools, stores, churches, even bowling alleys, completely hidden from maps, censored from the press, and kept a total secret from the public. Sounds like a conspiracy theory, right? But it happened. In America. And the government built it. This is the story of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, also known as the city that vanished overnight. Because for most people, it never even existed in the first place. Let's rewind to 1942. World War II was raging, and the United States was racing to develop something unthinkable, the world's first atomic bomb. To pull it off, the U.S. launched a top-secret mission called the Manhattan Project. It wasn't just a scientific effort. It was an engineering, logistical, and human challenge on a scale never seen before. They needed a location, somewhere remote, secure, and massive. A place where tens of thousands of people could work in total secrecy on a weapon that might end the war. And they found it in rural eastern Tennessee. Secluded in the Appalachian foothills, the government quietly seized 60,000 acres of farmland using eminent domain. Locals were told to pack up and leave. No explanation, no real answers. Then, seemingly overnight, the government built a city from scratch. They called it Oak Ridge. Within a year, it had 75,000 residents, all fenced in, guarded, watched. And yet no one outside knew it existed. It wasn't on maps. Driver's licenses issued in Oak Ridge weren't valid anywhere else. Incoming mail was rerouted through Knoxville to cover the trail. Even birth certificates were scrubbed. This wasn't a city. It was a ghost with a zip code. And here's the wildest part. Even the people living inside Oak Ridge didn't know what they were working on. Thousands of workers, many of them women fresh out of high school or housewives looking for war jobs, operated massive machines, monitored dials, and took measurements, with no clue that they were enriching uranium for a nuclear bomb. They were told not to ask questions. Posters warned, "What you see here, what you do here, what you hear here, when you leave here, let it stay here." People followed the rules, because secrecy wasn't just policy, it was survival. One worker later said, "You did what you were told. You didn't ask why." It wasn't until August 6, 1945, when the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, that many Oak Ridge residents learned what they'd actually been building. And just like that, the secret was out. But here's where the story gets even stranger. After the war, instead of tearing Oak Ridge down, the government opened the city. Overnight, what was once a secret military facility became a real place again. Streets got names. The gates were unlocked. The fences came down. It was like watching a ghost town reappear from thin air. People started asking, how do you keep an entire city secret? Well, it turns out that money, isolation, and an airtight information blackout can go a long way. At its peak, Oak Ridge used more electricity than New York City. It housed miles of processing plants, code-named K25, Y12, and X10. It had churches, movie theaters, a newspaper, one that printed stories but was edited by government censors before distribution. Even the dating scene was monitored. That's how tight the operation was. In every way, it functioned like a normal city. But in reality, it was the nerve center of one of the most powerful and controversial technologies ever developed by humans. To this day, parts of Oak Ridge are still involved in nuclear research and national security. And while the city now has street signs, shopping centers, and GPS coordinates, its origins remain one of the strangest chapters in American history. Because Oak Ridge wasn't just a city, it was proof that a government could build a metropolis, fill it with thousands of people, and erase it from public knowledge, all in plain sight. It also leaves us with a haunting question. What else don't we know? If a city can vanish overnight, what does that say about the line between privacy and secrecy? Between national security and public trust? Or maybe the bigger question is this: if the people building history didn't even know it, Are we truly aware of the world we're shaping today? Let that sink in. If this story blew your mind, hit subscribe for more mind-bending history, science, and forgotten facts. And tell us in the comments, could something like this happen again? Would we even notice?